Mind your own business. No one will care for your money like you. Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Dr. Lydia Show. I'm Dr. Lydia. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. All the previous episodes, I hope that you enjoyed and that you've liked it, shared it, and it has helped you in some way. This episode, I wanted to help you to increase your financial IQ just a little bit, and that is what this topic, this show is going to be about. One of my mentors, somebody I haven't met, but if I have the opportunity, I would really like to sit down and have a lunch with her. Oprah Winfrey. She said this quote: "Education is the key to unlocking the world. It's the passport to freedom." And this piggybacks off the last episode and the episode that I talked about before, where I said that, education is always an ongoing thing and it helps you to go forward. So this is why I'm here to help you to hopefully, if you didn't know some of this stuff, or even refresh some of this stuff for you. Good deal? Because until I started accounting or a business class, a lot of these terminologies I didn't know. I didn't know different types of income. I didn't know assets versus expenses. I didn't know liability. And as I proceeded through school, that's when it became even clearer. And let me tell you, I know for a lot of people, they're like, finance, oh my gosh, I'm glad you're doing it because it's so terrible. Like, let me tell you something. It wasn't easy for me either. When I decided that this was a field that I wanted to even explore and understand, it was because it was the most challenging thing I've ever done. I wanted to prove to myself that this, one, I can accomplish it. Two, I just thought to myself, there's no way I could continually look at something over and over again and not being able to get it. So first, I'm going to tell you what most people are used to. There are three different types of income. And most people, when you go out and you get a job, that's the only income that anyone's, or in your schooling or growing up, that most people, if you're not affiliated with any form of business, you don't know. So the only one that you're aware of is earned income. So earned income is where you go to school, get an education, and you get a job. That's really what that is. Or if you haven't gone to school, you get a babysitting job, they pay you, you're trading, essentially, you're trading your time for money. So that's what earned income is. Do you remember before I told you about the cash flow when it says the E, the B, the E, the S, the B, and the I with the cash flow quadrant? We're going to get a little bit more into that later. And that right there is exciting to me because I love this so much. Okay, cool. So the other form of income is passive income. And passive income is probably a little arrogant way to say it. It's like every time you pass, you make money, but it's not really like that. It's like you're making money while you're sleeping. So it's where once people start investing, they'll get into real estate because that produces passive income. You hear about Airbnb, that produces passive income. For me, when I started learning and I thought music was the way to go, when you get royalties from music or your books or content that you create, that's considered passive income. For like influencers and if you have like an online business, e-commerce business where somebody goes on your website, and that's passive income. So that's where I'm trying to get for most people to do a shift in being able to get these other forms of income under your portfolio. And then there is also portfolio income. I said portfolio so that I segue into portfolio income, is where, say you have your money, you bought a certificate of deposit, bonds, you have your money in the bank and you get paid interest. I know we're living in a time where you don't even get a lot of interest on that. So Or say portfolio income is like you bought a franchise and the franchise is working for you, some form of capital gains. And that's what portfolio income is, where basically your money is working for you too. Passive income, I think, it's more of buying assets and letting the assets work for you. So savings account, portfolio income, dividends from stocks, and things like that. So in touching at this point is that I should also tell you that I Forex trade. And that was another thing that when I was learning all of this and I decided to Forex trade, it was one of those things that caused me to want to really pull my hair out. But I had to make that decision. At first, after I wanted to pull my hair out, I thought to myself, what other business could I have done that would expose me to be able to make the amount of money that I could? If I was to get a job, I wouldn't. And that right there forced me to want to learn it. And I'm glad I did, because after 6 months to a year, like even till today, I'm continuing to learn. But not just that, I do have a really good understanding of the statistical analysis when it comes to that, and being able to make money trading, which would essentially be more of earned income, depending. It could be earned income and or it could be portfolio income, depending on how long do you have your trade for. For instance, like a day trader would be, oh my goodness, I'm trying to get in and out the market. They're trying to earn income right away for their survival. But some people use it for portfolio income, where they would trade more of medium and long term, and there you would get a longer profit on that. So I could even talk about that for a very long time because I really love it too. But this section is not really about that. So I wanted to tell you, I also have a class on Forex trading in this episode, because Forex trading, and that class itself, it starts from basic to intermediate to more advanced, with technical fundamentals and putting it all together. Okay. And it's on sophisticatedtrader.com. If you wanted to go and check it out, it would be a great thing for you to learn how to make that an additional source of income for you, and learn how to really make money with the financial markets. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is, earlier today, I was telling you about assets, expenses, and liabilities. And for me, and how I've helped my children to learn a lot of this stuff, and other people, is studies have shown that from children or anybody really, once you're really young, one of the effective ways to be able to learn something and be able to remember and maintain it over time is by playing games. I thought to myself, Robert Kiyosaki has done this well in his game called Cash Flow. And I alluded to that in a few episodes prior. Cash Flow is a really good tool into helping you to understand assets, expenses, and liability, because most people don't sit there and look at their financial statements, and you should. Every single quarter, every single year that has gone, you should be able to look at it to see what expense you can reduce, where you can take away from your expenses or your liability to bring it over into assets, or even put it into savings for future investments for yourself. So for that, I wanted to bring out the cash flow game. Ooh, I dropped something. Guys, look, it's actually a board game. It's similar to Monopoly. And a lot of people that you go and say, oh my goodness, do you play Monopoly? Yes. But have you really ever played cash flow? It is a boss game. All right. So what I told you about the game is that most games don't have one. Do you remember I was telling you about it? A financial statement. A financial statement. It talks about your income, your expenses, your assets, and your liability. Now, what I love about this game too, and It is excited. You know what? I pulled it out, and even my 3-year-old was like, "Can we play? Can we play?" My kids love it. It is one of those really good things that we get together as a family, because remember, I told you before, you're an average of the people that you surround yourself with, right? So if you're trying to get to a different financial level, the people around you must understand that and want to grow with you. All right, cool. So asset liability. So, here, it comes with a little book. And let me tell you, this, I am not affiliated with them. I've never met Mr. Kiyosaki. If you'd like to meet me, hello. I am one of your biggest fans. I've not met him personally, but for me, he is one of those persons in my mastermind. And of course, I studied this stuff in school. So, well, no, I don't study this particular stuff, but I'm telling you everything here. So it comes with these little cards. If you want to be a policeman, a mechanic, you could be a doctor, you could be a janitor, you could be an engineer or a teacher, business manager, secretary, nurse, a lawyer, an airline pilot, or even a truck driver. I don't know if any is missing, but I'm telling you, it really doesn't matter where you start. At first, when you shuffle up the game, you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to be a janitor. I don't want to be a janitor. I want to be a doctor. Look here. It really doesn't matter where you start, because sometimes when we play this game, people that are janitors get out of the rat race faster than maybe a doctor. Why? Because a janitor don't necessarily have the amount of expense as a doctor would, or a lawyer would, or an airline pilot. So all of that is on here. All right, so let's pick something random. And I could go on, but I'm going to try to compress a lot of this information to make the episode not so long and drawn out. So, and I don't want to do that to you. All right, cool. So let me pull one. Today, I'm a truck driver. On this, it says approximately my income level is $2,500. I know it's a little bit outdated, but just bear in mind. But with that, my expenses, it talks about your taxes, your home payment, what your student loan would be, which would be zero. But in today's day and age, a truck driver would necessarily have student loan, a car payment, your credit card expense, other expenses that you may have. And on here, it wrote that if you were to have, like, say, a bank loan, then you would add it up. That would be later on, and say if you had children within the game, which is so realistic to life, because as you have children, your expenses do go up. Then you go on to what asset that you may have at that time. It's like, how much saving money do you have in your account? And if you have any liability, which would be your house mortgage, if you had any student loan, if you had any car loan, any credit card debt, those debts, like credit card debts, these are what the liabilities are. So I am telling you this so that you understand, and for yourself, if you wanted to go ahead and create your own financial statement so you can see where you are and to project or forecast where you're trying to go. Because only by being aware and seeing this stuff on paper, you know, that's how you're able to make a plan to be able to make a difference in your life. And like we talked about several episodes, like 3 to 5 years from now. I remember myself years ago when I used to be in a lot of debt, and I wrote it out consistently every single time. And for people, they were like, I don't want to see my bank account because I have a little bit. I don't want to see my bank account. I don't want to see my credit cards because I have so much debt, no, look at it. And when you look at it, foresee what the future looks like, zero it out, pay it in full. Imagine yourself paying it on. All right. And that was a strategy that I use. And now it's worked. It is worked wonders. Oh, wait. Out. Can you see me? All right, cool. This is what the board game looks like. See? I don't know. Like, I'm going to see if I could put like a whole image of it up there so you'll be able to see. But what it does, it comes with these little mice. It is so cool. These little mice stuff, right? And when you roll the dice, it's like you're running around like a little rat in the rat race. Essentially, when you get a job, you're in the cycle. You work living paycheck to paycheck. You're paying your mortgage. You're paying your car note. You're doing entertainment. You're doing all these wonderful things that you think that an average person would or need to do. You're keeping up with the Joneses. You're pleasing people. You're like, okay, well, that person have a jet ski. I want to get one. That sort of thing. Now, there are different things in the box that comes with it. They're called doodads. Boom. And these are the expenses like I talked about, some fell, but I'm not going to pick all of them up. I'm just showing you. Is like, for instance, new bowling ball, right? Let's see. New easy chair. Now, these are the things that in this game we call doodads. There are things depending on where your money is and depending on your income level and how much money you have savings. Then you would have something called small deals. Hold on, I'm trying to get it together. Small deals. And for instance, this small deal, hold on 1 second, let me see. On this small deal, it will tell you a stock at a certain price. And this is where you start making investment decisions. Now, what happens with the game is that when you get these cards, you would read it out to everybody so that they could understand. So because I've been playing this game with my kids from they were younger, they understand now what a stock is, what price you would want to buy a certain stock for it to be beneficial to your portfolio. And after you buy small deals and you have a certain amount of cash, of course you want to get to big deals. And on big deals now you get to buy an automotive business for sale. So now you're moving from the left quadrant to the right quadrant when you're a business owner or an investor. After, another important thing in here is, I love this one, when the market changes, because this is a fluctuation that we really have no control over. So there are sometimes, say you have a property and a tenant would damage something in your property. I know that's something that most real estate owners, or all of us really, can attest to. And then you have to spend out of your pocket to be able to fix it. Or say the market change and the market is dropping and then you're going to sell your property. Or say the market is going up and you're buying properties when it falls and you're selling the property when it gets to be at a certain level so that you could probably wholesale flip that money over into buying another business. So these ones are interesting. Now, one of the other things is that what I love is also the cash ledger. Now, every single time you do payday, you do a deal, whether you land on big deal, small deal, you have to add or subtract what you did here. That is something that we don't do normally. We swipe our cards. We only end up figuring that something is wrong when maybe the bank comes to us like, oh my goodness, you're overdraft. But if you have if you're financially conscious of what it is that you're spending, what your income is, what you're saving, what needs to be put away for future investments, what needs to be put away for your children or future generations. I mean, this right here, it's really important. And a lot of times we kind of push this stuff away and say, oh, my financial manager will do it. Oh, I can't afford one. Or my bookkeeper will do it. This is why I always say to you, mind your own business. No one will care for your money like you. Do you see all the problems that so many celebrities are having because they've been so laissez-faire with their finances and giving other people their monies to be able to oversee and watch, and themselves, all they would have to do is to pay attention, and they really haven't. you're setting yourself up for failure if you are to leave your most prized possession, because we're trying to create generational wealth, right? So you have a whole thing of diamonds here. And instead of you paying attention to it, you're going to leave somebody who does not have as much to sit there and watch your diamonds. What do you think will happen? This is where greedy financial investors come in, or wealth advisors. They are on basically their minimum salary. They're living paycheck to paycheck. This is what's happening with the financial situation in Jamaica. It's like, what do you think will happen? Now, if you increase your financial IQ when it comes to this stuff, there is no way you're going to have that sort of problems. Whether you don't have it right now is where you start developing the right habits. Now is where you start developing the right skills or techniques, so that later on, it's just a force of habit. You know that, one, you check your financial statements. 2, you know where your money is going. 3, you know what investments that you've made. Now, one of the cards that I love every single time it comes around, if I can find it, I wanted to show you. It says, sister-in-law borrows money. Sister-in-law is downsized. She needs $5,000 for house payment. She promised to pay you back $10,000 after she finds a new job. I know that's something most of us, or a lot of us, heard. Not probably from a sister-in-law, but some former family member. Do you know, every time I see this card, it reminds me, it was Steve Harvey who said that whenever somebody comes and try to borrow money from you, you always give them 1/10 of it. And once you give them 1/10 of it, you don't lend it to them, you give it to them. So now they have to go ask 10 more people to be able to get the amount that they want. This again will show how bad they want it. And you won't be the only one out of X amount of money, because like the card says, basically it's really a dice roll to see if you were ever going to get the money back, that part. So I told you all about this game. Here goes the thing. When I have friends come over that has never played the game before, or they're telling me a lot of things that they're doing, it's like, I bought this really, really great car. And I know to myself, based on the information or things that they've told me, it's like, you're not really in a good financial place. And I think to myself that sometimes the hardest people for you really to give advice to, especially in your expertise, is people that are close to you and people that know you for a very long time. Because again, they try to always anchor you in a certain point in time that they know you from. So a lot of them, it's like, or maybe say my parents, or maybe my oldest siblings will probably look at me, or my aunts, or my uncles, or family members that know me would probably be thinking, there's no way she knows more than I do, because I am here longer than she has, and a lot of times they don't listen. So for me, I always try to introduce this game in a fun and interesting way. It's like, hey, let's play this game and let's see what happens. Oh, wait, there's something else in this game. It talks about charity, and it talks about downsizing, where you lose your job. And when you lose your job, you must have 2 months, you must pay 2 months worth of expenses, because again, you don't know in real life, when you lose your job, you don't know how long it's going to take before you get another job. This is why within my community, or I always try to advise people, is that a part of your initial saving plan and your saving goal is to be able to have 3 to 6 months at first discretionary funds, just in case something happens and you're not able to work. After that, you want to have 6 months to 1 year, because again, you never know what will happen. And a lot of times when we are young, we don't sit here and foresee the future. We think that money will forever flow through, and it doesn't happen that way. Just in a blink of an eye, you never know what will happen. But if you have that cushion, that 3 to 5 months, that 6 months to a year, no matter where you are in the world, if something was to happen to you, you can say, okay, I'm okay now. I don't have to stress, pull my hair out 100% in being able to get back on your feet. Another thing is that in the front part of here, it says the ultimate goal of this game is for you to find your dreams, whatever your dream is, whether it's to own a family restaurant, whether it's to have an AC company, whether an assistant living facility, a franchise, to be able to have your business or your money to start working for you. And then it goes to, oh my goodness, divorce. It's possible for you to get divorced in this game. And when you do, you lose half your cash. But one of the good things is when you do have your divorce and you're actualizing your dream, it doesn't hurt as bad as when you're not doing so good and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you lose half your stuff and you have to start over. So that's just a little nugget for you. All right, so when I play this game with people and I just pull out the cards and I try to explain at first the cash ledger, the financial statement, where to put information, and I just watch them through the first time to see how they normally would make financial decisions in their lives. So for some people, when the first stock comes up, it doesn't matter the price, they're going to buy it. Because again, they're not considering market. They're not really considering the price. And what some of them will go ahead and lend the money, right? Some of them will buy a property without a cash flow, with even a negative cash flow, just because for them, it's like, once I buy a house, they're not really looking at the financial statement to say, is this a really good deal? Is this a great deal for me? Is this going to benefit me later on? So after they do that through the first game, and then they'll come and they'll borrow money, because a lot of us, that's what we do, thinking that if I get a bank loan, that will bail me out of this. And then you realize I cannot make the payments because my assets was already sucking a lot of the money out of me. And then you go right back into, oh my goodness, I can't afford it. I lost my job. I don't have enough cushion. I don't have a business to be able to bring additional income in. And then guess what? You're filing bankruptcy and you're out of game. Another thing that normally happens is the doodads. I had a few friends of mine. This is so funny. When they rolled on the doodads, yeah. I want to do that. I want to do that. And of course, they bought concert tickets. Yeah, I'll go to the concert. Of course, I'll repaint my new house. Wait, I'm going to get this one. I love this one. I'll buy new rims for my car for $2,000. You take out a loan if you must. And these are people who normally do this people live like this. And then when that happens, all of a sudden they have no cash. Because now they're financially conscious and looking at their financial statement, they're looking like, oh my goodness, wait, what if I get downsized next month? I don't have $2,000 to spend. So after they do that for a couple of rounds and they were excited about getting the doodads, all of a sudden, for the next game, nobody wants to land on doodads. It's funny that nobody really wanted to even land on having a baby. I remember when my daughter, we were playing this game, and she had to be probably 10 or 11. I don't remember. She's probably younger than that. And she landed on the baby. She's like, no, I don't want a baby. Abortion. I'm telling you. It was so funny. Sorry. I cannot. So I'm telling you about being financially conscious and being able to increase your IQ when it comes to what it is that you foresee your future to look like, what it is that you want for you and your family when it comes to generational wealth 5 to 10 years from now, what it is that you want to save towards, what it is that you want to, what do you really want for you, yourself, your financial future? You have to be conscious. You have to look at your financial statements. You have to look at your doodads. You have to look at how you're spending your money, where your monies are going. At what point you can reduce the amount of interest that you pay on a credit card or on something. And a lot of times what we try to do is, for instance, when it comes to a liability, if there's a car that you want to buy, you see a lot of business owners or a lot of investors with the nicest cars. And you would think to yourself, I want that. So let me go out and, again, about pleasing people and trying to keep up with the Joneses. But you don't know to yourself that what they actually did was go out and they bought an asset first. And when they bought the asset, they went ahead and used the money from the asset and paid for the liability. That is the smart way to do it. So this is what I am trying to introduce to you when it comes to plain cash flow, in being able to create a side hustle that essentially take over for your current earned income, for you to move over to the thought process of having passive income, portfolio income, for us to be able to leave generational wealth through education, increasing financial IQ, increasing your knowledge, and continuing to learn. Listen, I am telling you, you see how excited I am about this stuff, because it has now become a way of life for me. When people are like, oh my goodness, are you hanging out? I went to, and this is probably the last little tidbit or story I'll tell you. I was in my bachelor's degree, and I was in my economics class. And I remember my professor wrote on the board, where do we spend most of our money? Where do you spend the most? And he put up work, because a lot of people don't understand. Well, they're not factoring when you work, you're spending on clothes, you're spending on lunches, you're spending on everything while you're there in a way. And the cost, what is it costing you? Time away from your family, time away from this. And then we itemized, oh, but you're not at work now. Let's go have some fun. Let's have a little bit of leisure time. Let's go to the movies. And then when we did that, it factored out, as you will probably be doing for yourself, is that when you have leisure time, that's when you spend most of the money. Because one, you're not making any income at that time. Your time, you're not really you're not gaining for your time. You're spending on gas, time you're not getting paid for, plus you're paying for that concert, plus there's food. You spend time on clothes, maybe hair, nails, shoes. All it is a whole lot of expenses that we're not even being conscious of. So for that, every single time I sit here and I, in my head, immediately start factoring everything in. It's like, and again, like I told you before, there are days that I sit here and I say, well, when I get to a certain place, if I've done X amount of work, then I'll reward myself. That's something different. But if you're going out just to hang out without having your assets in order and a whole lot of expenses and liability, then there's a problem. Then you need to sit there and make a conscious decision of what you need to change, how you're going to change that within the next 3 to 5 years. And listen, and some of us, be honest with yourself, because maybe where you are now, or where do you see yourself in like 6 months, it's probably best for you to file bankruptcy. And these are things that once you look at it and you make these conscious decisions, this is where you need to talk to your tax advisor or even your personal financial person to be able to make these decisions. But it is possible that's where you need to be able to have a fresh start, to be able to do what you need to do to change your generational wealth with the information that we're learning now. So I hope this episode is exciting for you, and it has been helpful to you as even teaching it to you, it's like, oh my goodness, I hope they get really good gems out of this. Another thing, like I didn't talk about, I talked about the divorce. Here was the thing. Another, one of the red dots on here is like bad partnership. One, you have to know who it is that you go into business with, if you're going to be going in business with anybody at all, or if it's by yourself or it's with a family member, right? Because a lot of, there's this saying that see me and live with me are two different things. See me being friends with me, doing business with me, and having some form of financial relationship with me, or trusting them with your money, or vice versa. It's a whole new relationship, and one that you need to be mindful of. And don't just give your money just to anybody. Again, this is in episode 1 where I talked about the richest man in Babylon. That was one of the nuggets, is that be mindful. It's not everybody comes to you with a really great idea. You're going to be like, yes, oh, here's my nest egg. Go take it. No. Who are you listening to? Is this their expertise? Do they really know what they're doing? Or is it one of those get rich quick scheme with no real financial literacy, no real financial planning behind it? How often do they come to you with these ideas? How long have they been doing it? You see, because for me, I have been doing Forex trading since 2006. 2006. And it's funny, before I wrap up here, when I started doing it, when I started doing my technical analysis and reading my charts and looking at forecasts and going way back to any one of the depressions and the recessions and looking at all the history of the financial stuff, because I love that. I love that stuff. Okay. You know, some people are historian. When it comes to money, I will research everything, and I'm going to, yes. When I started to do this, everybody thought I was crazy. People within my circle thought I was crazy. And again, probably this is the reason why my circle is so small. Again, too, because when they thought I was crazy, one of the most important things that I always said to myself, do you have the life that I want? And I thought to myself, no, they don't. So why am I even listening to you? This is where I decided to go on a different path, because worst case scenario, I'll be at the exact same place. But if I never do it, I will never know what that outcome will be. And so that's why I never listened to most of the people who tried to give me advice that weren't financially literate. And they were sitting there telling me of what happened, or all the no. And I'm telling you, today, I'm glad I didn't listen. I'm so glad I said, nope, no thank you. Now, here goes. I wasn't rude. I didn't say it to their faces. And after they watch this episode, if they ever hear it, they're like, yeah, maybe that's why. I respected their opinion. I listened. I said, oh, thank you, and smiled and walked away and did my own thing. Because if there's one thing that I've learned, is that I have one life, mine. And I have to live it to my own true and authentic self, to my fullness. And so if I keep running to every direction that everybody's, I'll be a crazy person. I sit here, God has given me a brain. So I sit here, it's like, well, listen, it's the best decision for me. Or wait, maybe I want to try it. Maybe I don't want to try it. But at no point am I going to get a really valid advice and don't try it, and then just writing it off and saying, oh my goodness, well, it doesn't work. No. I don't do that. Especially from somebody that is educated, who's been there before. Think of me as one of your little BFF that really knows what it is I'm talking about. And if you do and try it for yourself, I'm telling you, I've tested it, not just with this. A lot of the business strategies, I've tested it with a lot of small business owners, a lot of my clients. I have some big businesses. I'm telling you, it works for them. Some of the strategic planning that I've helped them to create in their businesses to be able to have a better financial future, to be able to get to the place when some of these people wanted to sell their businesses to another company, or being able to say, pass it on to the next generation. I think to myself, that's essentially what you should want for yourself. But all our goals are different. So whatever it is that you decide. Today, again, wait. I didn't even realize it was upside down. Cash flow. We got to get our cash flow up and running. Okay? So I hope with this lesson, I was able to help you a little bit and you learned some things that may spark or tweet or say, tweak or give you the aha. Wait, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should look at my financial statement. I need to know what my assets and my liabilities are, because until I started studying accounting, these things weren't as important to me. And every business, you need to make your business your life, because in your household, just your family alone, you have all the same things: your assets, your liabilities, your expenses. You want it to be where your assets are, or your income is more than your expenses every single time. So you have surplus that you could continue and save, have that cushion, and be able to save for your future investment, and what it is that you want to do. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. And again, remember to like, subscribe, share with your family and your friends if you have any questions about this, because I know that during this small little segment, I went over a lot of great little nuggets for you. I hope it all, or something in it, was helpful to you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Dr. Lydia Show. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.